Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling something that I think anyone who's ever, been near a newborn has probably worried about.
Oh, for sure.
You know the scene.
Yeah.
It's late, it's quiet, you're just staring at this tiny little baby. They're so cute. And then they yawn. And then they yawn again. And again.
And suddenly it's not so cute anymore.
Exactly. That awe moment just spirals into panic. You're on your phone Googling, is my baby bored? Are they not getting enough oxygen? It sounds ridiculous, but in the moment, it feels huge.
It's the classic new parent feedback loop, right? You go from this is precious to is this a symptom in like 3 seconds flat. But it's a valid question because newborns yawn a lot.
A lot.
I mean, way more than adults do. And the reasons are almost never what we think they are.
And that's exactly what we're getting into today. We're sort of decoding the secret language of the newborn yawn, and we're basing this deep dive on the work of Dr. Mahesh Yadav. He's a pediatrician who's really broken down the what, the why, and maybe most importantly, the when to worry. And I think the big headline here is that most of this it's actually a good thing.
It really is. It's not just about being sleepy. We look at a yawn and think, okay, time for a nap. And yeah, that's part of it, but Dr. Yadav's work shows us we need to zoom out.
A lot.
A whole lot. In a newborn, a yawn is this complex physiological event. It's tied to brain development, to the nervous system figuring itself out, and just the chaos of moving from the womb to the outside world.
So it's less I'm tired and more like my operating system is booting up and, installing some updates.
That's a great analogy, yeah. The core idea here is that newborn yawning is almost always normal. It's neurological. It's a sign that the baby's whole system is hard at work.
Okay, so let's get into that biology. I think most of us just assume a yawn is a deep breath because you're tired. But Dr. Yadav says it goes way deeper. What's actually happening?
Well, there are a few things firing off at once. For a newborn, you have to remember, pretty much everything is in manual mode. Their bodies are learning to regulate things we just take for granted.
Right.
So one of the main jobs of a yawn is to regulate breathing patterns and maintain that oxygen balance.
How does it do that? Is it just getting more air in?
It's a bit more mechanical than that. So inside the lungs, you have these tiny air sacs, the alveoli.
Okay.
And when a baby is born, those have to stay open. But newborn breathing can be really shallow, and sometimes those little sacs can kind of collapse on themselves a little.
Oh, wow.
So a yawn is this big, prolonged, deep breath that literally stretches the lung tissue. It pops those alveoli back open.
So it's like reinsulating a sticky balloon.
Exactly. It makes sure the surface area for oxygen is maximized. But then there's this huge neurological side to it. Yawning helps coordinate brain activity. Get this. It regulates brain temperature.
Brain temperature. I had no idea a yawn was like a cooling system.
It really is. A newborn's brain is growing so fast, it's metabolically off the charts, and that generates heat. The deep inhale of cooler air helps cool the blood heading to the brain.
That's fascinating.
But, more importantly, it helps the nervous system learn to organize sleep and wakefulness. You have to remember, a baby in the womb has no schedule. There's no day, there's no night.
A fact every new parent learns the hard way at 3 in the morning.
They really do. The baby has no circadian rhythm, that internal clock isn't set, so they're just constantly shifting states, from deep sleep to light sleep to quiet alert to active.
And the yawn is the signal for that shift. This was the part of the research I found so interesting, the idea of the transition.
This is the key insight from Dr. Yadav. Yawning happens most often during those transitions, and that's why it feels so random to us.
Right, because you see it before they fall asleep, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But then you see it the second they wake up.
Exactly. And you're thinking, you just slept for 2 hours. How can you possibly be tired? But it's a gear shift for the brain. It's ramping up from sleep to being awake. You also see it during feeding pauses.
Which would panic me. I think they were bored or full.
Right. But it's just a little neurological downshift. The brain is just processing all the sensory input of eating. It's a moment of transition.
Dr. Yadav also links this to how short their sleep cycles are, which I think explains why there are just so many yawns.
It absolutely does. An adult sleep cycle can be, 90 minutes? 2 hours? Something like that. For a newborn, it's about 40 to 50 minutes long.
Wow. So they're cycling through these states twice as often as we are.
Exactly. And if yawning happens at those doorways, going into sleep or coming out of it, and you just have way more doorways in a day, well, you're going to see a lot of yawns.
That makes so much sense. It's not that they're always tired, it's that they're always transitioning.
It's a sign of a busy brain, not an unhappy baby.
Okay, but does this last forever? At what point does this chaos start to stabilize?
Thankfully, it does not. Dr. Yadav gives a pretty clear developmental timeline. But, we have to manage expectations. It's not like a switch flips overnight.
So what does that timeline look like? Let's walk through it.
Okay, so weeks 1 and 2, that's what he calls the adjustment phase. This is when the yawning is most frequent and most random. The baby's just figuring out how to, live, breathing, eating, all of it.
So a yawn while they're staring at the ceiling fan is just system calibration.
Pretty much. Then you get to weeks 3 to 6. Here, you start to see patterns emerging. The yawning is still super common, but it's a little more predictable.
Not a schedule, but maybe a rhythm.
Exactly. You start to notice, oh, he always yawns right before that mid-morning nap. The nervous system is starting to get it.
And then when does it start to look like what we would call normal?
The big aha moment tends to happen between 6 and 12 weeks. This is when the circadian rhythm really starts developing. And now, finally, yawning starts to clearly link to actual tiredness.
So by 3 months or so, a yawn means I'm sleepy.
Mostly, yeah. After 3 months, the patterns look much more like an older infant's. But it is a gradual process. All these systems are maturing at the same time. It's messy.
That's so reassuring. I think parents feel like they're failing if there's no schedule by week 4, but the baby physically can't do it.
The hardware just isn't there yet. Nope.
Let's circle back to what you said about feeding, because that gets us into how we read these yawns as communication. We misinterpret them all the time. Let's bust some myths, starting with the big one, boredom.
Oh, absolutely. Let's be crystal clear on this. Newborns do not get bored. It's cognitively impossible for them.
But it feels so personal. You're showing them a toy, and they let out this huge yawn. It feels like a critique of your parenting skills.
It does, but it's actually the opposite. Think how much brain power it takes for a newborn just to process your face. All that light, shadow, sound. If they yawn while you're engaging with them, it's not because nothing is happening. It's because too much is happening.
So it's sensory overload.
Exactly. It's the brain saying, whoa, that's enough input. I need a break. It's a sign they might need to wind down, not because they're bored, but because they're overstimulated.
Okay, that helps. What about hunger? I heard people say, he's yawning, he must be getting hungry.
Another common trap. Dr. Yadav is really specific here. A yawn is not a hunger cue. Hunger is an active, seeking behavior.
So what does that look like?
That's rooting, turning their head, looking for a breast or a bottle. It's sucking motions, lip smacking, restlessness. Yawning is a settling or transitioning behavior.
So if it's not boredom and it's not hunger, what is the baby trying to tell us with that yawn?
We should treat it as an early warning system. Dr. Yadav calls it one of the main early sleep cues. And early is the key word.
The yellow light.
It is the yellow traffic light before you get to the red light.
Which is full-on crying.
Crying, arching the back, fist clenched, that's overtiredness. If you wait for that, you've missed the easy window for sleep. The yawn is the polite little heads up that the window is opening.
And it usually comes with other signs. Right. It's not just the yawn by itself.
Rarely. You want to look for what comes with it. Slower movements. And a big one is reduced eye contact. They'll literally look away from you. It's called gaze aversion.
I've seen that. They just turn and stare at the wall.
It looks so strange, doesn't it? But it's a self-regulation tool. The baby is thinking, okay, I'm getting tired. I can't process your face anymore. I'm cutting the data feed.
That is brilliant. They're turning down the input volume themselves.
Precisely. So you see that yawn, plus the gaze aversion, maybe a little face rubbing or some fussiness. That's your signal.
And the advice is, start the wind down right then.
Yes, and don't try to keep them awake. I know the temptation is to push them a little longer, thinking they'll sleep better.
It makes logical sense.
Logic fails here. Biology takes over. An overtired baby's body starts producing cortisol and adrenaline. They get wired. It's a stress response. So now you have a baby who's exhausted, but also chemically stimulated.
So the yawn is the body saying, the train is at the station. Get on now.
Perfect analogy. And another little note, it's normal for babies to yawn while they're feeding.
See, that would throw me. I'd think they were done.
Most people do. But often it's just a relaxation response. The sucking is soothing them. It doesn't mean they're full. It just means they're getting sleepy and comfortable.
Okay, so we've covered all the normal stuff. But we have to talk about the worry side. When is it a red flag?
We do. But first, let's set the baseline so nobody panics. Dr. Yadav is very explicit. A yawn, by itself is almost never a medical problem.
Context is everything.
Everything. If your baby is healthy, eating well, gaining weight, and seems responsive, frequent yawning is just a quirk of their development.
But there is a list. What's the cluster of symptoms that, when paired with yawning, means you should call the doctor?
Okay, so you're looking for signs that the body isn't working efficiently. So yawning plus poor feeding or persistent lethargy.
And lethargy isn't just sleepy, right? It's more than that.
It's more than that. It's a real lack of energy. They're hard to wake up. They feel floppy in your arms. That's lethargy. Also, any kind of breathing difficulty.
Like what?
Like if you see their chest sucking in hard under their ribs, and this is an emergency bluish lips or skin, that's cyanosis.
Blue lips. Call 911. Got it.
Yes. Also, a very weak cry or poor weight gain over time. These are signs that the yawning might be part of a bigger picture. But again, these other signs are usually pretty obvious.
So if your baby is yawning a ton, but also eating like a champ and screaming their head off when they're angry,
you're probably in the clear. But, and this is important, Dr. Yadav really emphasizes trusting your gut. Parental instinct is a real thing. If something just feels off or a pattern changes suddenly, just make the call.
that's great advice. So for the listener who's maybe holding a yawning baby right now, what's the game plan?
The strategy is about supporting their system. You can't fix yawning, but you can help their circadian rhythm develop.
Helping the updates install a little smoother.
That's it. So during the day, lots of daylight. Normal household noise, don't tiptoe around. You want their brain to register this is go time.
And at night, flip it.
Exactly. Keep it dim, calm, and quiet. Low voices. This helps their brain start to produce melatonin when it's ready, usually around that 6 to 12 week mark. And of course, respond to those early cues we talked about.
Right. See the yawn and the gaze aversion and just settle them down. Don't fight it.
Honor the transition. That's what they're asking for.
It really changes how you see it. Instead of, is my baby sick? It becomes, oh, my baby is building their brain.
And that's the big picture. It's a system check. It's the engine revving. The anxiety goes down when you realize the yawning is a sign the machinery is actually working as it should.
So let's wrap this up. For the tired parent listening, what's the summary?
Okay. The newborn yawn is a bridge between sleep states. It's a physical regulator for the lungs and brain. It's a temporary phase that chills out over the first 3 months.
And it's a communication tool. It's saying, I'm transitioning, not I'm bored.
Exactly. And unless it's paired with other scary symptoms, it is completely, totally normal.
It's amazing how much is going on in such a tiny action.
It is. And, you know, it makes you think about that idea of transitions. We see the baby yawn, and we know they need to switch gears. They don't fight it. They just do it.
They don't try to power through with another coffee.
No. But as adults, we completely ignore our own body's need for transitions, don't we? We push through fatigue. We jump from one big task to another without a break. We treat our own yawns as an annoyance.
Wow. I never thought of it that way. I always see a yawn as a personal failure, like, ugh, why am I tired?
We all do. But maybe the newborn yawn is a reminder of a biological need we've forgotten. The need for rest, for a clean transition between states. Maybe we need to respect our own system checks a little more.
That is a thought I am definitely going to sit with. Maybe I need a quiet alert phase before my next meeting.
A little gaze aversion couldn't hurt any of us.
Seriously. Just stare at the wall for 5 minutes. Well, thank you for that. And thank you everyone for listening. Hopefully next time you see that tiny mouse open wide, you'll see a brain doing incredible work.
Absolutely.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.